Okay guys, so one thing I am always constantly told about by screenwriting professors is if the first 15 pages of your script does not capture the attention of whoever's reading it, in Hollywood they are going to take your script, throw it out, burn it, and laugh in your face, okay? That's what I get told all the time. I can't say the same for this movie. I don't think it happened when they read the first 15 pages of the script. Anyway, hey there guys, what's up? What's going on? It is Autobot Mike 18 here, back with another movie review. Guys, in this video, I am going to be reviewing a movie that got a wider release. Yes, limited releases. They're getting wider releases. And I'm so proud. Guys, in this video, I am going to be reviewing Swiss Army Man. That's right, guys, Swiss Army Man. It was a movie that, when I saw the trailer, it was one of those trailers where I was like, wow, that's nuts, that's crazy. I saw it, like, one time, months ago, and I just, like, didn't remember much about the movie, like, at all. Like, I was like, okay, I'll go see Swiss Army Man, and then I just completely forgot everything that was in the trailer, everything that the movie was going to be about. So it was not like it grabbed onto my attention or anything. I was definitely hyping this movie up for one reason, of course, because it is distributed by film distribution company A24. And if you guys don't know how much I enjoy their movies, then you clearly have not been following me for very long on YouTube. I have made discussion videos about this company. I have just raved about almost all of their movies that I have seen. I seriously think they are the best indie film distribution company working today. So naturally, I definitely needed to go see Swiss Army Man, and I sought this movie out. Ended up going to a Draft House Theater, which I don't really care for them, but I wanted to see this, so had to make it work. So guys, let's get into the plot behind. I want to just get right into it and get right into my thoughts for this movie, because I got a lot to say. But getting into the premise behind Swiss Army Man, this film, guys, focuses on a young man named Hank. He's played by Paul Dano, and when we open on him in this movie, he is essentially at his lowest low point. He has hit rock bottom. He is supposedly on this island, which is in the middle of nowhere, supposedly. Apparently there's no direct civilization around them. And he apparently ran away from home when we first introduced him. So I'm not going to say what he's specifically doing within the first scene in this movie. It is given away in the trailers, so you guys will probably know if you've seen the trailers, but I don't want to give it away because I didn't remember that from the trailer. So I'm going to make you guys go in blind. But Paul Dano, let's just say he's at his lowest low point. And in the very first scene in the movie, he sees a body, seemingly dead body, washed up on the ocean shore. Immediately, he rushes over to go investigate this body. Like, what the hell is this body that looks well-dressed, but it looks beat to shit? Like, what's up with this damn body? And we soon come to realize that this body still has some life in it. The body is actually, the name of this character is Manny, and he is played by Daniel Radcliffe. And these two start to grow a bond as Manny slowly starts to get some life back into him, as the two set out to rediscover civilization before they die on an island alone. And yeah, they're going to go on a really unforgettable journey that is going to change them forever. Guys, that, my friends, is the plot behind Swiss Army Man. Now, as I said earlier on, I didn't remember the trailer. I guess nothing about it, like, truly hooked me. And then after I watched this movie, I went back and watched the trailer and said, why did that actually hook me? And there's actually a literal scene with a hook coming out of this character's, out of Daniel Radcliffe's mouth. So, I'm bad at making puns. Anyway, guys, well, I'll just say this much. If you guys follow me on Twitter and if you follow me on Instagram, you'll know my thoughts on this movie. You already knew my thoughts on this movie. Guys, Swiss Army Man is straight up one of the most incredible movies I have seen in several years. I'm just going to put it at that. I fucking loved this movie, guys. Wow! I loved it. I am going to scream it out to you guys. I loved the hell out of this movie. When was the last time I dropped the F-bomb in a review for a movie that I love? 90% of the time, I drop the F-bomb in reviews for movies I hate. That just tells you how much my mind's screwed up and how much I enjoyed this film. Guys, Swiss Army Man is unique. It's imaginative. It is so different, and it feels so original than 90% of the stuff we get from Hollywood nowadays, and I can't stop thinking about this movie since I have seen it. I can't shake this movie out of my head. I can't. And that's a good thing. I'm not saying that in a negative light. I'm not. I saw this movie last night at like 9 p.m. and I was going to come home and review it right after I had seen it, but I wanted to let it sink in a bit. And I wanted to just, wait a night. And today I went to see the BFG, which is I'll get a review up for shortly. And I was going to review this movie early on in the day. I didn't get a chance to, so it's now the next night since I've seen this movie. I'm still thinking about it. I've now since seen the BFG, and it is still the first thing on my head. Everything about this movie is still fresh in my head to the T. Guys, I am not joking you. I am going to give you my recommendation right now in the beginning of this damn video to stop what you're doing, and I implore you, if you are going to the movies this weekend, seek out this movie and go give it your money because it absolutely deserves it. It is just unfreaking believable what they did with this movie. Now, what I said in my intro, guys, I want to tie back into that really quickly right now. I'll tell you guys why. Like I said, the first 15 minutes of a movie, the first 10-15 minutes of a movie, which is like the first 10-15 pages of a script, is the most important part. You have a big job to do with that opening of your movie. You have to set up the world, set up at least one of your characters, your main character at least, and give us an idea for the type of tone and style you're going for with this movie. And Swiss Army Man did that beautifully within the first 10 minutes. From that opening shot, a smile grew on my face. And from the very minute at the end of the opening scene, when the title pops up on screen, my smile grew even bigger, and I immediately knew the type of movie. By that time that title popped up on screen, I knew the type of movie I was getting. I had been introduced amazingly to the two main characters in this movie, and I had been given a perfect idea of the exact tone and style that the filmmakers were going for. A very dramatic and an extremely comedic and hilarious tone, and I got that consistent tone throughout this entire movie. And that's why I love the first 10 minutes of this movie. It's probably one of my favorite openings of all time. In this first 10 minutes, we are introduced to, in my opinion, a highly relatable character to myself. Not specifically in every single way. No, I am not doing, nor have I been, what Paul Dano's character is in this movie. I don't want to spoil it, but yes, I'm not like that, okay? But a lot of aspects of this guy's character I definitely can relate to. He is a loner. He's an isolated guy. He didn't have the greatest of lives when he lived in the real world with civilization. He's the type of guy who literally sat on a bus and looked out the window every single day and didn't talk or interact with anybody. And guys, I kid you not, but for a large part of my life, that's me. That happens to me sometimes. And I immediately connected with that in one shot and with voiceover that Paul Dano was saying in the beginning scene of this film, and that's why I immediately knew I was in for a treat. I immediately knew I was going to love this movie. And then when we get introduced to the dead body character, and that first fart rips through the screen and makes me burst out laughing, I knew this film was going comedy, and I knew I was in for a treat, and I so got a treat as I finished watching this movie. I kid you not. The movie literally goes up and up and up, and I was like, at any point, is this movie gonna just hit the floor? Like, it's just gonna keep going and going, and it absolutely does. Throughout the entire thing, I was so into this story and this screenplay, which is one of the most original and unique screenplays of the year, because it just, like, when the freaking Oscars start nominating shit and they don't nominate this movie for original screenplay, I'm going to be pissed and I'm going to bring it up because I'm going to talk forever about this movie on this channel. Just making it clear. But the screenplay is amazing, guys. It's fascinating. It's refreshing. It's sweet. It's touching. It's humane. It resonated with me perfectly. It's hysterical. I was laughing out loud. The jokes in this movie land. This is one of the only R-rated movies that knows how to use fart jokes in the right damn way. So thank you, movie, for actually doing that right. bad grown-ups movies. Ugh. Yeah, no, it's hysterical. I love the relationship between these two characters. One character is a guy who's essentially sick of civilization and sick of, not essentially sick of it, but he's had a rough time, let's just say that much. And another character is a guy who can't really move or he can only really speak, he can't act for himself, but he also has these crazy powers and stuff. But at the same time, it's this character who doesn't know a lot about the real world. So this character, this Paul Dano's character, who knows a lot about this world, is going to explain a lot to him. And Daniel Radcliffe's character is incredibly frank and honest, and his eyes are being opened to this world that Paul Dano's character hates. It's such an amazing comparison and contrast between these two characters. It's flat out incredible writing, guys. It really, really is. I'm not kidding with you. I loved it. Let's just take a break from the screenplay, which is amazing in its own right. Just praise the writers of this movie. It's so good. It's so funny. It's so sweet. It hit me in all the right feels perfectly to a T. Let's talk about the performances really quickly. I have to. It's a must. Guys, Paul Dano, I've been saying it for such a long time. This guy is underrated. He gets overlooked all the time. He's not talked about. He isn't in enough starring roles. I think his first big starring role was last summer's Love and Mercy, which is where he had the main title role, the main character role. Everything else he's been a supporting character, and he's killed it in all those movies. Prisoners, There Will Be Blood. The guy is an incredible actor and needs more work. 12 Years a Slave. He is phenomenal in this movie. He brought those traits of this character out perfectly. I sympathized with him. I connected with him on so many different levels. I love this performance so much. It's one of my favorites of this year so far. He's so natural. He's so down to earth. I love his chemistry with Daniel Radcliffe, who, holy shit, Harry Potter can act. If you never liked him in the Harry Potter movies, well, go see this fucking movie, because you're going to completely change your opinion on this man. Daniel Radcliffe, I know half of the time, they probably, especially in the beginning, the very early beginning of the movie, they used a dead body, okay? They used some Daniel Radcliffe body, ragdoll, whatever, for the scenes where Daniel Radcliffe actually doesn't have to, speak or anything. So there you have it. Yeah, obviously they probably, but in other moments he has to sit there. He can't blink. He can only speak. He can't move his arms. He has to be this character who's yearning to learn more and more, and he pulled it off flawlessly in this movie. Him and Dano work so well together. The montage scenes are not only so incredibly cut together with so many great quick cuts and just great use of props in general for an island. I loved it. I loved their relationship in this movie so much. I thought it was going to be one of those relationships that was so strong in the beginning of the film that it just really doesn't become anything in the end, and I love where it went to in the end of this movie so much. Another thing, I want to go back to the script before I get to the directors and everything else. I need to praise how much this movie could have just been a cliched carbon copy survival story like Castaway 2 or something like that, on an island, but with a dead body that can spit rocks at shit, or fart and fly in the air, or be used as a jet ski for purposes. This movie's nuts. It's crazy, and it knows it wants to be crazy, and that's why I love it, okay? It's part fantasy, and that's what I loved about it. It's just genius. It's so inventive and refreshing and original, and I love it. But it's different from survival stories because it takes a different route. It's not following the same paths or it's not hitting the same cliches. It's different. It's its own thing, and it's so good. Guys, the directors of this movie, it's marketed as a film by Daniels, because two Daniels directed this movie. Daniel Schnert, I'm probably saying that wrong, and Daniel Kwan. Amazing, amazing job. This movie looks incredible. This movie has that tone and style of a really dark yet incredibly hilarious comedy, but also a very serious movie that touches upon several really important themes about being human and connecting with others, and I loved it, about being socially active, and it's so well written. But the directing is phenomenal in this film. The shots are gorgeous. The location they used to shoot this movie. The score is flat out incredible. It's like that spiritual type of music, but not like Christian spiritual music, like just straight up spiritual music with amazing callbacks to one of Spielberg's best movies. Just throwing that out there. I don't want to spoil it, but it's just flat out awesome. Now, guys, I need to catch my breath. I've been going on so long about how much I love this movie. I know you guys are probably like, well, Mike loves this movie. It's his favorite movie of the year. Well, it just might be. It's definitely up there, for sure. I know that for a fact. Here's my thing with this movie. I don't think it's perfect. I don't think it's wholly perfect. I need to see it again, but I'm right in the middle of perfect, or not even in the middle. Like, I'm 3/4 of the way there to perfect. My one complaint, I had one problem with this movie, and it's this. The first 2 acts of this movie is perfect. It's perfection. It's cinema perfection. Everything about it I loved. I was so drawn in. I could not take my eyes off the screen. I was laughing hysterically. My heart was breaking. I was so into it. We get to the 3rd act of this movie, and things change slightly. It felt a little like rushed and a little messy, and it didn't feel like, it didn't hold up to the first 2 acts of this movie. Then the ending happened, and I was left wanting to stand up and clap, but my theater didn't clap, so I didn't. I should have started it, though. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry to Swiss Army Man. You know what? I've since thought about it, and I was going to knock my score down for this movie, but I can't, guys, and I'll tell you guys why. Last year in 2015, I gave Room a 10 out of 10, and it was my favorite movie of the year, and I said in my top 10 video, it's because that movie made me feel a lot of different ways. It made me feel a lot of different emotions. I was happy, I was sad, I was angry, I was joyful in the end. I laughed, I almost cried. I loved how that movie elicited an emotional response from me. And whenever a film can do that, to me, it is a perfect movie. And that, guys, is why I love Swiss Army Man, because of how I felt. I laughed, I was happy, I was sad, I almost wanted to cry. I loved how I felt as I watched this movie. And that, guys, is why Swiss Army Man is a modern masterpiece for me. It's one of the most original and unique movies I have seen in years. This movie is going to be talked about forever, and it absolutely deserves to be. I cannot get this film out of my head. I love every single thing about it. It is an incredible masterpiece of a film. I praise the directors. I praise the cast. I praise A24. I love everything about Swiss Army Man. Guys, Swiss Army Man gets a 10 out of 10 or an A+. My second A+ of the year. Boom! Swiss Army Man was freaking awesome. Guys, I implore you, if you love movies, if you love making movies, if you love screenwriting of all things, go out to the theater this weekend and go see Swiss Army Man. I kid you not, you will not be disappointed in the slightest. With movies that just didn't quite hit the bar for what, some movies this year that haven't quite hit the bar for what we've wanted in screenplays, this movie will completely change your view of that, for sure. It's movies like this, that's why I go to the theaters. Guys, there you have it. End of review. I love Swiss Army Man. What did you guys think of this movie? Let me know down below. I gotta go calm down because don't remember the last time I was this amped about a movie. Holy shit. Guys, thank you so much for watching as always. I hope you enjoyed my review, and I will see you in my next video. Bye, guys.